What's dangerous is when the universe pick you and you put on the magic glasses. There's rules that go with them. You can never take them off. You never see things as they're supposed to be. You see things as they are. And you can never force nobody else to wear them.
I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out. Well, maybe tomorrow the world will wake and get it right, but I have my doubts, yeah. During the day, well, I design machines of war that scream through the sky. 'Cause I, for one, I like to go to bed free at night under these stars and stripes. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts, but they'll wind you up and pull the cord until you're spun right out, and I don't understand. Roll the dice and raise the price to feed the machine's mouth. Call it the progress of man. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. I have my doubts, so I'll drink my stuff and raise some hell and shoot my guns to the end of my time. You can have the booze and go to hell and take the guns, but I know they won't be mine. Messed up and out of touch, let's text someone who's in the other room. So don't wonder why we don't say hi or know anyone. I might as well move to the moon. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. Well, the things I think while I lie awake and contemplate at night are wearing me out.
Good evening. Hope everyone is doing well. I finally changed out my power supply for my top monitor tonight. I don't think you guys ever got to see it, but if it goes to sleep and I would go to bring it back up, it would flicker for a little bit, like kind of almost like until it got warmed up, and then it would stay on. Well, the reason why is because the original power supply for that monitor is 2.5 amp at 12 volt. And I didn't have anything that mean in just a plug-in power pack. I had a 2 amp hooked up to it. That's the one that would flicker a little bit. So I got tired of the flicker, so I got the 30 amp 12 volt power supply that powers the diesel heater. And I got that puppy hooked up to that. And if 30 amps ain't enough, I don't have much help for it. So anyway, it won't flicker on me anymore. I don't know if it ever did that. Usually the monitor stays up when I do the show. Well, it always stays up, so that's probably why you haven't seen it. I would have remembered it if it did it when I was live. So anyway, got a ton of news tonight, and it is not good. Things are getting really stupid in way more than one place. And I mean really stupid fast. Even in Haiti, which isn't even technically in war or anything, is apparently a nightmare. But I was speaking more specifically to the Israel-Iran situation and, of course, the Ukraine-Russia situation, which is now a Ukraine, France, Germany, bunch of countries, and Russia. It's stupid. Britain, France, says other northern European countries. So we'll be getting into that pretty quick here. Absolutely stupid, insane. It does look like this is going to escalate. I don't know really what else to say. It looks like it's going to escalate both situations to a concerning level. Very concerning. So let me go ahead and hop on into that. I don't have anything else for you really anyway. Thursday night, I might try to get in a couple of times to get my face blown off in VTOL VR after the show. And so I'll hop right into it. Rip it off like a Band-Aid. They always told me it was better. Of course, I wouldn't know because I never had any other option. NATO enters Ukraine. We're sending an army. Europe will bear the brunt. Intensive preparations in Germany and Poland. Says here, Britain, France, along with other northern European countries, will send troops to Ukraine, U.S. State Department advisor Edward Lutwak said. This information was confirmed a little later by the Polish Minister of Foreign Affairs, Radoslaw Sikorski, who emphasized that a decision was made to create a NATO mission in Ukraine. Says the advisor of the U.S. State Department, Edward Lutwak, emphasized Britain, France, and the states of the Northern Europe are preparing to send troops to Ukraine, which is pretty much what I just said. So far, we are talking about special force units as well as logistics and support personnel who will remain away from the front lines of battle. That isn't going to make a difference. Putin has made it clear that any NATO troops in Ukraine, in any position, is fair game. Says Lutwak noted that NATO member states should soon send their troops to Ukrainian soil as there is a shortage of personnel in the ranks of the Ukrainian armed forces. Now, I just told you about how he changed and I'm talking Zelensky, changed the conscription age from 27 to 25. That clearly wasn't going to be enough to even put a dent in it. However, even this fact, according to the advisor of the U.S. Diplomatic Department, will allow the armed forces of Ukraine to release part of their forces and send more military personnel to the front. You know, in other words, they're just going to be support roles. So they say. The United States cannot provide more than 40,000 troops because of the threat of a Chinese invasion in Taiwan, So clearly, there's some type of intelligence that must be talking about that. Says, so Germany, France, Italy, and Spain must provide their troops, the State Department advisor said. Still NATO. Kiev will fall not because of a lack of weapons, but because of a lack of soldiers, and the Europeans must help it. First the United States, then the USSR, and other nuclear powers realized, listen to this, that nuclear weapons were too powerful to be used in combat. This was true for decades until the invasion of Ukraine. NATO countries will soon have to send troops to Ukraine or accept a catastrophic defeat. Britain and France, with the countries of Northern Europe, are slowly preparing to send troops. If Europe fails to provide enough troops, Russia will prevail on the battlefield, and even if diplomacy successfully intervenes to avoid total defeat, Russian military power will return victorious to Central Europe. Then the Western European powers should bring back conscription. We may even see a wave of nuclear nostalgia, foolishly returning to the illusion that these formidable weapons are enough to keep the peace, the American advisor stressed. In other words, they're saying that we may even see nuclear weapons. And this was earlier where Polish foreign minister said decision to send NATO forces to Ukraine has been made. He said here, we decided to create a NATO mission. This does not mean that we will go to war, but it means that now we will be able to use NATO coordination, training, and planning capabilities to support Ukraine in a more coordinated way. It would be important for Putin to understand that we are able to plan, if necessary, for several years. It cannot be won in a few months or even in a year or two. As the North Atlantic Alliance, we are 20 times richer than him, and if necessary, we can afford a long-term conflict. So, yeah. So I guess he can afford, I'm not sure where all this money's going to come, but okay. It's nuts, and it's absolutely escalating. Absolutely. So, let me have a sip of coffee. And the news just gets stupider and stupider. U.S. official says the Russian military has made up for its losses and has fully regrouped. Now, I just told you how, Europe's going to kick Russia's ass. And even a U.S. official was involved in the declaration of that ass kicking. Now, U.S. official is saying that, oh, yeah, the Russian army, military, they completely re-up. They're good to go. Says Russia's military has managed to almost completely rebuild its forces after the massive losses it suffered during the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, a senior U.S. official said. Speaking during an event, U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Kirk Campbell said that they have been monitoring Moscow in recent months to assess whether it has regained its strength. He said the invasion force had been almost fully rebuilt thanks to a significant increase in defense spending since the war broke out in February 2022. Support from its closest allies in China, North Korea, and Iran has also helped Russia weather economic and military setbacks over the past 2 years, Campbell said. We've really seen China start to help rebuild Russia's defense industrial base, essentially covering trade from European partners, he said. Russian military is recovering faster than expected. Said since March 2024, the Russian military has likely suffered more than 350,000 casualties in Ukraine, according to a report by Britain's Ministry of Defense Intelligence. The average daily number of Russian soldiers killed and wounded currently stands at 983, the highest since the invasion began. In addition, Moscow has reportedly lost 2,619 of the nearly 3,000 tanks it initially deployed in Ukraine. U.S. intelligence officials say it could take a decade for Russian forces to fully recover, given the massive casualty numbers. Okay, which one is it? However, Campbell's latest assessment argues that Russia is recovering faster than expected and on schedule for its alleged plan to attack a NATO member by 2026. It's an alleged plan. Now, I don't know where this plan came from, but now all of a sudden the U.S. State Department has a plan. Anyway, it said citing a classified report of German secret intelligence and talking about the increased preparation of Russian forces on their western border with the aim of attacking a Baltic country or Poland. So, he said, she said, 2026, so we better hurry up, before Trump gets in office. Because Biden needs that war. I don't think that'll help him. I don't even think that if we're in full-blown war, that the United States citizens are going to re-elect that old tool. Better not. Damn. That would be stupid. So anyway, Medvedev says take no prisoners, no NATO prisoners. Remember a while ago when I was talking about, they're going to hit them regardless if they're support positions or what? Well, Medvedev takes it a little bit further. He said bounties should be offered for the killing of NATO soldiers if they are deployed in Ukraine to fight against Russian troops, former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev has said on Thursday. In a post on social media, Medvedev lashed out at Kiev's Western backers, arguing that they are taking the world for fools if they believe that sending foreign forces to Ukraine would not lead to dangerous escalation. If NATO soldiers do end up in Ukraine, they will not be limited to non-combat roles, he claimed. They will become part of the regular forces that are fighting against us. That is why they will have to be treated only as the enemy, Medvedev, who currently serves as deputy chairman of Russia's Security Council, wrote. We should take no prisoners. The highest rewards must be given out for every killed NATO soldier. Russian businessmen and activists have previously set bounties for the destruction of Western-made tanks in Ukraine. An idea of potential NATO boots on the ground in Ukraine was repeatedly floated by French President Emmanuel Macron, who argued that all options are possible. He stressed that Paris has no such plans, however. During a rare phone conversation between defense chiefs on Wednesday, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu warned his French counterpart, Sébastien Lecornu, that sending French troops to Ukraine would have disastrous consequences for Paris. Moscow has repeatedly warned the NATO troop deployment to Ukraine would put the bloc on the brink of a full-blown conflict with Russia. President Vladimir Putin warned earlier that it would be one step shy of a full-scale World War III. So, they're poking awful hard. And I think Putin's tired of it. That bear will get your ass. Especially when you're a bunch of nations of paper tigers. Kiddo. Europe's not that well off. They're not that prepared. They've been warned that they're not that prepared. Nobody is really in a position to go into this conflict. None of the nations. None of the NATO nations, even the combination of the NATO nations. The reason why I say that, because you have to understand, once the moment that it truly escalates on that level, it's not just going to be NATO against Russia. It's going to be NATO against Russia, China, Iran, for sure. Iran and China is already supposedly helping out Russia, but of course, it's not boots on the ground. It's with materials, with weapons and whatnot. Hang on. Okay. Let's see. We have plenty more headlines. What do I got? 6 more? Telling you, it's stupid. U.S. to build weapons warehouse in Arctic Europe, says media. Says here Washington is considering establishing a massive weapons depot in the Nordic countries following the recent accession of Finland and Sweden to NATO. Lieutenant General Christopher Mohan, the Deputy Commanding General of U.S. Army Material Command, has said in an interview with Breaking Defense. Quick kid. The two countries applied to the U.S.-led bloc in May 2022, citing the Ukraine conflict as a threat to their security. Finland was admitted in a short later, but Sweden's bin was delayed by disagreements with Turkey and then Hungary. While Mohan did not disclose possible new site locations, he noted that the military bloc was taking a look at the issue of just what equipment and locations are best for high north and Arctic. The addition of the NATO partners changes the security landscape of our responsibilities as part of NATO, the general told media on the sidelines of the annual Association of the U.S. Army's Global Force Symposium on Friday. Norway could become a possible storage location for NATO weaponry, according to U.S. Major General Ronald Reagan. I'm pretty sure it's probably not Reagan, as cited by the media. NATO has 2 Army pre-positioned stock sites in Germany and spots in the Netherlands, Poland, Belgium, and Italy, Breaking Defense reported. It is seeking more locations, especially in the high north, as tensions over Ukraine mount now that Finland and Sweden are part of the organization, according to the outlet, which is exactly what Putin said they were going to do, was put weapons and military there. According to Mohan, U.S. European Command Head General Christopher Cavoli is spearheading the changes and crafting a plan that will embrace and integrate Finland and Sweden into the NATO enterprise, and that's going to drive some changes on the ground. So, again, not good. But hey, we can always just change the subject and talk about Iran and Israel. That can't be that bad, right? I mean, we only talked about how now for sure NATO troops are definitely going to be boots on the ground. Remember when they said that NATO would not be boots on the ground? Yeah, I remember that. Oops. Accident, some troops fell out of the planes and the choppers, and some tanks fell out, and I mean, they're there now. They might as well do something. Distant support. Kind of like a jock strap. Oops. Wait, I didn't read that one yet. Okay, I'll quit with the jokes. Iran promises Israel a slap in the face. At least it wasn't a kick in the nuts. Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has vowed to punish Israel following an air raid on Damascus, Syria, that killed 7 officers of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, Quds Force. 2 IRGC generals, Mohammad Reza Zahidi and Mohammad Hadi Haji Rahimi, were among the casualties in Monday's attack on the Iranian consulate in the Syrian capital. The Iranian head of state addressed the incident in a speech to government officials on Wednesday. The cowardly efforts by the Zionist regime, like the one they carried out in Syria, will not save them from defeat. They will, of course, receive a slap in the face for this move, Khamenei had said. Khamenei offered no details about what Tehran's response might involve. When the U.S. assassinated Quds Force leader Qasem Soleimani in January 2020, Iran responded by raining ballistic missiles on American bases in neighboring Iraq, injuring over 100 U.S. soldiers. Israel has repeatedly bombed Syria in recent years. On the rare occasions the Israeli government has acknowledged the attacks, and it has described them as preemptive self-defense against Iran. This week's strike, which targeted a consulate, has been widely condemned as crossing the line. Moscow denounced the strike as a breach of international law, while the head of Russia's Foreign Intelligence Service, Sergei Naryshkin, described it as a terrorist attack committed by Israel. Purported Israeli airstrikes appear to be singling out commanders of the Quds force due to its support for the Lebanon-based Hezbollah, which has clashed with Israeli forces since the beginning of the latest conflict in Gaza. Israeli PM Benjamin Netanyahu declared war on Hamas. Well, this just goes all into the history of it, but Iran's pissed, put it that way. Now, we were just talking about these guys a second ago. I guess we're not quite done talking about them. Loud message from Russia to Israel. It sends troops to the Golan Heights in Syria. Oh, so not only have they rebuilt back enough, build back better, not only have they built back better their military as to the level it was when they first invaded Ukraine, but they can spare some soldiers and I'm sure some equipment for Syria as well. Seems like maybe something's up here. I'm not sure. It says the Russian Defense Ministry said it had deployed additional forces to Syrian-controlled areas of Golan Heights, where Israel had reportedly been striking at an increasing rate in recent months. Russian forces are formally tasked with de-escalating the tension in the Syrian provinces of Quneitra and Daraa, as well as monitoring the long-term truce reached in the framework of the Syrian war. According to Russia, military positions belonging to the Syrian army will now be under Russian observation posts set up to monitor possible provocations. Russia's decision to make its presence felt in Golan Heights coincides with Moscow's condemnation of the Israeli strike on the Iranian consulate in Syria. Russia has called on the Jewish state to stop such totally unacceptable actions and has called for a UN Security Council meeting over the strike on the Iranian consulate. A Kremlin spokesman, Peskov, said that such attacks violate all foundations of international law. This decision by Russia to send troops to the Golan Heights has alarmed Israel, with Jerusalem Post speaking of Moscow's cynical use of the area in question. According to the Israeli newspaper, Russia is using Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights as a rampart in its argument against its invasion of Ukraine. Foreign Minister Lavrov has openly accused the U.S. of hypocrisy in recognizing the Golan Heights as part of Israel. Lavrov, who compared the Golan Heights to the Donbass, implied that the U.S. was not taking seriously its own promise to respect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of all UN member states. Shortly before Russia's special operation in Ukraine in February 2022, its deputy ambassador in Geneva told the UN Security Council that Russia does not recognize Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights, which are part of Syria. Two-thirds of the Golan is occupied by Israel, annexed on December 14, 1981, recognized only by the U.S., while the eastern part by Syria, whose territory it was until the Six-Day War in 1967. The U.S. is the only country to recognize the Golan Heights as Israeli territory on March 25, 2019. So, yeah. Not good. Not good. Three more articles. That's it. Putin says about the great Iran-Israel war is that Tehran will hit Israeli soil directly. says here, American and Israeli officials have announced that Iran will respond to the bombing of its embassy in Syria with a direct hit on Israeli soil. Israel understands that there will be an Iranian response, and since terrorist attacks through Iranian proxy wars are unsuccessful, Iran will try to strike Israel directly from its territory, according to Israel's Channel 12. Senior Israeli officials reportedly received intelligence during the day today indicating that Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps may launch an attack on Israel on Friday using medium-range ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and kamikaze drones. Israel has warned the United States that if Iran decides to target its territory, then it will be forced to respond. Israel is gradually entering a state of emergency, and it is unknown if Iran strikes in the next few hours whether it will emerge from it. The statements of Putin's close advisor Alexander Dugin are of interest. Dugin noted, Israel attacked Iran and Syria. This is an act of aggression. Now Iran has no choice but to attack Israel with all the forces of the resistance. This war will be started by the Shiites, but at some point it cannot but become a war of all Muslims. We have to consider the timing. Biden does not want it at all, as is his priority to get elected and support Ukraine over the Russians, but Trump, on the other hand, does not care about the Russians, but about Israel. Therefore, Tehran has every reason to start a war with Israel as soon as possible under Biden and before Trump. The U.S. and NATO will certainly get involved, but with great reluctance. In the meantime, the Russians will take Kiev and dramatically strengthen the anti-Western pole. So, crazy. Even these other nations know just how bad of a spot that we are in. When I say we, I mean all of us. But we got Joe Biden up there in the big office going, we got this. We got this. I'm going to go have a Ben & Jerry's. Make sure your kid signed up for the draft. I mean, it's not going to be good. Israel braces for Iranian attack. The Israeli military canceled all leave and began to spoof satellite signals on Thursday in what it has been widely interpreted as preparation for a possible Iranian reprisal for the killing of Iranian officers in Syria. Two generals of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, Quds Force, Mohammad Reza Zahidi and Mohammad Hadi Haji Rahimi, were among the 7 officers killed on Monday's attack. I said that earlier. Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei vowed that Israel would receive a slap in the face, while Iran's envoy to Syria promised a response from the same magnitude and harshness. We proactively activated a GPS interference, which was absolutely necessary, Hagari said in a statement. The IDF also announced it was suspending all leave of its combat units in accordance with the situational assessment. The IDF is at war, and the issue of deployment of forces is constantly reviewed as needed, the military said. So, pretty sure it's gonna get worse. I got a one up here. Let me get this story out so it's up there. But remember what I was saying a little bit ago? You know, how Biden wouldn't do nothing? I wasn't saying that. The article was saying that. Let me make that clear. I ain't foolish. Doesn't matter if you got a D or an R in front of your name. You're gonna give Israel what it needs. One's just going to make the fight look a little better. Biden approves more bombs for Israel, says media. Well, looky there. It says while the administration of U.S. President Joe Biden has reportedly agreed to provide thousands of additional bombs to Israel, helping it to replenish stockpiles that have been depleted by West Jerusalem's 6-month bombardment of Gaza. The latest weapons transfer was authorized on Monday, CNN and the Washington Post reported on Thursday, citing unidentified U.S. government officials. The package includes more than 1,000 Mk-82 bombs, I've used them in VTOL VR, which weigh 500 pounds apiece, as well as over 1,000 small diameter munitions and fuses for Mk-80 bombs. Don't remember seeing those on the list. The weapons transfer was finalized hours after news broke that the Israel Defense Forces killed 7 aid workers, including U.S. and U.K. citizens, in a drone strike targeting a humanitarian aid convoy in the Palestinian enclave. Nearly 200 aid workers have been reportedly killed in Gaza and the West Bank since Israel's war on Hamas began in October. Although Biden has chided Israel for not doing enough to protect aid workers and the other civilians in Gaza, his administration has refused to throttle back its support for the IDF or place conditions on weapons shipments. Over 33,000 Palestinians have been killed since the war began, according to Gaza health authorities, and the UN has warned of a humanitarian catastrophe if the IDF goes through with its planned ground offensive at the southern end of the enclave. We believe that the approach that we're taking is working in terms of making it clear to the Israelis that what our expectations are, White House National Security spokesman John Kirby told reporters on Wednesday. He added, right now we are continuing to support Israel because they continue to need military assistance because they continue to face a viable threat. Again, I will repeat, it doesn't matter if they have a DR and R in the front of their name. They are going to support Israel. Just one's going to make it look like they don't want to. That's all. Doesn't change what actually happens. See, people fall, and this stuff is across the board. It's not just with the left, it's with the right. And the worst thing on earth is sitting there watching both sides erode the hell out of what the Americans can do, what they can expect. You know, it's just absolutely ridiculous. Both sides do it. But the really screwed up thing is they get half of them to cheer it on while they're kicking us in the nuts. Every time. It doesn't matter, blue team, red team, and it just seesaws back and forth. But people keep doing it. Crazy. Anyway, I've got one more sip of coffee left. Oh. Okay. That's really kind of screwed up. Really screwed up. Damn, I got through all that quick. The protocol. We're locked here. Let me put that up. Let's see, the protocol was we're locked in, locked down, and locked on. Damn, skip it. It still doesn't work on me with VTOL VR, though. I still get the shit kicked out of me. It just, you know, I can't duck, dodge. That's the problem. My duck, dodge sucks. I can shoot missiles, right? But I can't avoid them bastards. That's for damn sure. 1 out of maybe every 8 or 10, I slip past. So I guess my capability is up. Anyway, it's a fun game. It's a blast. Let's see. I've got another game, but I haven't started playing it yet. It's older stuff. It's World War II stuff. And Aces High 3 or something like that. And it looks like it could be good. But, yeah, then you got to learn all those controls and all that crazy crap. Oh, let's see. Headline: Stop lying, Russia tells the U.S. Kiev's backers fear frontline breach, says media. Boeing output plummets as safety fears linger, says Reuters. U.S. suspected of building secret military bases in oil-rich Latin American region. Not surprised. Russia expels Israeli citizen who wanted to fight for Kiev. Go fight for Kiev. EU boosts gas purchases from Russia, says Reuters. World in pre-war period, says UK Defense Minister. Remember, this is before all the other announcements. Eye rolls in NATO as Stoltenberg pushes for Ukraine long-term support, says Politico. Well, it seems like they're getting it. Ukraine's top brass believe Western F-16s no longer relevant, says Politico. Well, they weren't from the beginning of the conflict, so Russia cannot be target for terror attacks by Islamic fundamentalists. Biden wants to destroy Russia, says Tulsi Gabbard. Thousands of Russians fighting for Israel, says embassy. A Moscow terrorist attack recruiter apprehended, says FSB. UK may quit European Court of Human Rights, says PM. Let's see. NATO chief hails Ukraine's sacrifice for bloc's own aims. U.S. pushing world to World War III, says U.S. Congresswoman. It would appear that way. Israel targeted aid convoy car by car, says charity founder. Yeah, it was no accident. Kharkiv received a devastating attack prelude to a Russian ground operation. The heart of Ukraine went out. Ukrainian-born U.S. lawmaker sours on continuing aid. Incredible incident in Denmark. Iver Huitfeldt-class frigate Harpoon missile launcher blocked. Sea and airspace closed. China's Ukraine peace proposal most reasonable, said Lavrov. NATO needs Russian threat to justify its existence, says Deputy Foreign Minister. Russia and NATO already in direct confrontation, says the Kremlin. Let's see, covered that. Russia hits foreign mercenaries base in Ukraine, says Ministry of Defense. NATO establishes Ukraine mission, says Polish Foreign Minister. Ukraine embraces exiled Russian neo-Nazis, says Politico. UK has no plan for war, says Sky News. Oh, yeah? Israel on alert over Iran. Army suspends personnel licenses in all combat units. Czech Republic runs the supply program of hundreds of thousands of artillery shells for Ukraine. Let's see. And that we already talked about. Mercenaries from Romania, Georgia, and Baltics, Poland, and Czech Republic arrived in Kharkiv. German companies helping Russia rebuild Mariupol, says media. Israel using AI to pick targets in Gaza, says a report. Talked about that. Russian military is made... Oh, well, we covered that one too. Finland seals border with Russia indefinitely, also closes ports. Shock in NATO with the Danish warship. The systems of the Iver Hootbelt frigate were killed during a Houthi drone attack. Green light from the parliament for Romanian army operations in Moldova and Odessa. Mega NATO base is being built in Constanta. Let's see. IMF weighs possibility of confiscating Russian assets. Germany must bring back conscription, says defense minister. You know why now. Give as fast as you can. Netanyahu presses U.S. Congress on military aid. Yeah, because we just got everything to give out. It's like, we ought to just make Oprah Winfrey the president, right? Wouldn't that at least make you feel a little happier? You get bombs and you get bombs, and we'd maybe feel a little bit happier instead of Dopey Joe. Let's see. Look under your seats. Stinger missiles. Yeah. Somebody's going to have to pay the taxes on all that, though. Let's see. Kind of went off on a tangent there. Ukraine will become a member of NATO, says top U.S. diplomat. Zelensky comedy partner slams campaign against Russian language. China's incredible growth threatens American and EU economies, says U.S. trade chief. A Russian regional governor stabbed. That'll leave a mark. Israel braces for Iranian attack. 1 in 5 Americans says political violence may be needed, says a poll. Slap that shit out of both of them. Let's see. NATO missile failure blocks traffic in Baltic Strait. Washington Post says Russia dismantled 80% of Ukraine's thermal power plants in March. Let's see. Covered that. We covered that. Got bombs for you. NATO member extends closure of border with Russia. A UN expert warns of apocalyptic situation in Haiti. I told you at the beginning of the show it was even crazy in Haiti. Oh, shit. Oh, my God, what just happened? Everything just went black and I just... Okay, we're back. Calm down. I only had one more anyway. Poland summons Israeli envoy over aid worker's death. So, that happened, Joe. Anyway, I'm out of coffee, and I'm all out of fucks. I don't know where they went. Oprah didn't put any under my chair. I've tried, but I reached down there, and there wasn't even no... I won't say it. I'll let you think about what I was going to say. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here because, it sounds like I'm working for Satan now. And, God willing, I will... Questions. Questions. What kind of questions? Question what? My sanity? Because you should have knew that was gone like day one. I know one thing. I urge folks to do the things. I really do. In every way that you possibly can. Even if it's sitting down and learning how to do something new. Trust me, it's well worth it. So what's up? I don't want to stay too late because I want to get shot in the face a little bit before I go to bed. Oh, man. pop one up there and I'll answer it real quick, but I'm going to hop off and go to bed. After a while, I'm going to try playing a little bit, but it usually doesn't work out too well because you get in there and either the frickin' damn thing will end or the multiplayer session. That sucks. Plan to have the rest of this book I'm reading read and hopefully learn a little bit more on this game. I got one more book to start, which would be book 11 of the Borrowed World series by Franklin Horton. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. What, Steve? I'm going to need to get going here pretty shortly. Let's see, what is the last one? I'm reading the Reset Roadhouse now, and then it will be the Endarkened is book 11. I didn't see any questions, dude. Seriously. Said you wrote the questions twice. Hang on, let me change. I still don't see anything. The only thing I seen you ask was, let's see, the protocol was, we're locked in, locked down, and locked on. That's it. I haven't seen anything else. I didn't see nothing about iron skillets. Oh, I see that. I didn't see you ask that earlier. Sorry. I don't know why. How do I make one good? Well, I'm not necessarily sure that I can make one good. I've got a big 15-inch one, but I haven't even really used it much, and the reason why is because I don't have it that good. Well, I can see the chat. I'm live, yes. The only thing I can tell you about making them good is curing them. Well, I never did sand mine smooth. That's what I want to do, but I got to get the right sandpaper and the right, stuff to do it. I kind of really don't. I want to use a die grinder to do it. And I don't have a die grinder, nor do I have the sanding pads I would need to do it with a die grinder. But that's how I want to do it. I don't even have one of the circle things to put in a drill, I don't think, to do it that way. In fact, I know I don't. But I would prefer not to do it with a drill. I'd rather do it with a die grinder. You get a cheap one for like frickin' $20, I just never have. Yeah, die grinder. I don't even know what to tell you for sure on the grits of sandpaper things, though. And I wouldn't use the discs, the sandpaper disc. They make these other things that are a little better. I don't know what they call them. It's like sandpaper, but it looks kind of funny, kind of wavy. But those, I don't know. I don't know what you would use on the grit of that. I would say maybe start with maybe 120, and then I would probably use, and I'm just guessing here, I probably wouldn't go any higher than 600. I don't know that you'd even want to use 600. So, but yeah, if you get it down to 600 grit, I'm pretty sure you're going to have a pretty damn smooth skillet. So, But that's what I would do. And I would definitely use oil when I sanded it. If the sandpaper or those discs, if you can use oil with them. I can't be for sure that you can, so. Like I say, I never did it, but I want to do it. Because my big 15-inch is, skillet. My 15-inch skillet, yeah, it's not real smooth at all. So. Are you drinking tonight, Steve? I do question what that cop was on, though, when he just started opening fire because he heard an acorn. So, yeah. That has to be some pretty crazy stuff. Anyway, I am getting out of here, man. I will talk to you all later. God willing, I'll be back Sunday. Hopefully, I won't need to come back before then and give you a talking to. But things could really get stupid, so we'll see what happens. Oh, it's all good, man. It's all good, Steve. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. I will talk to you all crazy people on Sunday night. Like I said, I hope not to have to talk to you before then, but I'm not sure how that's going to work out. So, anyway, I will talk to you all soon. I hope you all have a good weekend. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your skillet. And shalom. Be one with your skillet. Steve, damn it. Be one with your spirit and be one with your skillet. I don't know. Maybe go om as you're sanding it. Maybe. I'll see you later, man.